Welcome to the world of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Enjoy the listening. First Contact and Cultural Clash. The crystalline spires of New Alexandria glittered in the light of three setting suns, their iridescent surfaces casting rainbow shadows across the crowded plaza. Dr. Zara K'eth adjusted her environmental suit's settings, trying to accommodate for the higher gravity of her homeworld after spending 6 months on various research stations. As the Aetheri Empire's leading xenobiologist, she had studied countless species across the galaxy, but none had caused as much controversy as her latest subject, humans. Primitive, volatile, unpredictable, her colleagues had warned when news of Earth's first diplomatic mission reached their world. Their civilization is barely 1,000 years old. Zara watched as the human ship descended through the atmosphere, its sleek design at odds with her people's expectations of crude technology. The vessel's surface rippled with adaptive camouflage, matching the pearl white of Aetheri architecture. Impressive, for a supposedly primitive species. The landing drew a massive crowd. Aetheri citizens, their translucent skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns, gathered to witness history. Security drones hummed overhead, their presence a testament to the High Council's concerns about human unpredictability. The ship's main hatch opened with a soft hiss, revealing the human delegation. Leading them was Marcus Chen, Earth's chosen representative. Zara had studied his file extensively, top diplomat, polyglot, and holder of multiple degrees in xenopolitics. But what caught her attention wasn't in any report, it was the way he moved, confident yet careful, eyes taking in everything with unmistakable wonder rather than the fear or aggression her people expected. "Greetings, people of New Alexandria," Marcus announced in perfect high Aetheri, his voice carrying across the plaza. "We come seeking friendship and understanding between our worlds." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. No alien species had ever mastered their language so quickly. The Aetheri's complex tonal language usually took years for other races to grasp even basics. Zara stepped forward, her official role as liaison beginning. "Welcome to New Alexandria, Ambassador Chen. I am Dr. Zara K'eth, your cultural and scientific liaison." She spoke in Standard Galactic, following protocol, despite his display of linguistic skill. Marcus smiled, switching smoothly to Standard Galactic. "The pleasure is mine, Dr. K'eth. Your research on interspecies biological compatibility has been invaluable to our preparation for this mission." Zara's bioluminescent patterns flickered in surprise. He'd read her work. Most species found Aetheri scientific papers impenetrable. The next hours blurred into a whirlwind of formal introductions, ceremonial exchanges, and the careful dance of diplomatic protocol. Through it all, Zara found herself increasingly fascinated by Marcus and his team. They defied every preconception her people held about humans. During the welcome banquet, she observed them handling the complex Aetheri eating utensils with unexpected grace. When presented with local delicacies that would have sent most aliens running, they participated with genuine enthusiasm. Even their physical movements, which should have been clumsy in the higher gravity, showed remarkable adaptation. "You seem surprised by something, Dr. K'eth," Marcus said, joining her at an observation window overlooking the city. The three suns had set, leaving the city aglow with bioluminescent light. "Your species continues to defy our expectations," she admitted. "Our preliminary studies suggested humans would struggle significantly with our environment, yet you adapt so quickly." Marcus chuckled. "That's humanity's greatest strength, Doctor. We're not the strongest, fastest, or most technologically advanced species in the galaxy. But we adapt. We learn. We grow. And yet your emotional responses remain." She paused, searching for a diplomatic term. "Intense? Unpredictable?" His eyes sparkled with amusement. "We feel deeply, yes. But isn't that also a strength? Passion drives innovation. Curiosity fuels discovery. Even fear can spark courage." Before Zara could respond, alarms blared throughout the complex. Security drones swarmed past the windows, their lights pulsing urgently. Environmental breach in Laboratory Section 7, an automated voice announced. Containment failure imminent. All personnel evacuate immediately. Zara's patterns flashed with horror. The xenobiology labs. My research specimens. Without hesitation, Marcus was moving. Show me the way. I've had training in hazardous material containment. The atmosphere in there could kill you. He was already pulling an emergency breather from his diplomatic suit. Then we better hurry before it kills anyone else. Against all protocol and her better judgment, Zara found herself racing through the corridors with this primitive human, about to face an unknown danger. As they ran, she realized that perhaps her people had been asking the wrong questions all along. The real mystery wasn't whether humans were too primitive to join galactic society. The real question was, what could the Aetheri learn from them? The environmental breach would prove to be just the beginning of a series of events that would challenge everything both species thought they knew about each other, and themselves. Breaking barriers. The aftermath of the laboratory incident changed everything. Word spread quickly through New Alexandria about how Marcus Chen, the human diplomat, had helped contain a potentially catastrophic breach. But what truly caught the Aetheri's attention was how he'd done it. You improvised a containment field using our ceremonial energy crystals? Zara asked, reviewing the security footage in her private research chamber. The recordings showed Marcus arranging the crystals in a pattern that created an emergency barrier, buying time for the automated systems to engage. On Earth, we have a saying, Marcus replied, watching his recorded self-work. Necessity is the mother of invention. Your ceremonial crystals resonated at frequencies similar to our emergency containment fields. I just had to arrange them correctly. But those patterns are considered sacred art. How did you know they could be used that way? Marcus smiled. Sometimes the greatest discoveries come from looking at old things with new eyes. Over the next few weeks, Zara found herself spending more time with the human delegation than her own research team. Every interaction revealed something new about these fascinating creatures. While other Aetheri still kept their distance, she began to see past her species' prejudices. During a joint research session in the xenobiology labs, Marcus watched her work with obvious fascination. Your people's understanding of genetic science is remarkable, he commented, studying a holographic display of DNA comparisons. Yet you don't seem intimidated by it, Zara observed. Most species find our technological gap discouraging. Knowledge isn't just about having advanced technology, Marcus replied, adjusting his environmental suit's settings. It's about understanding. Your people have incredible tools, but sometimes fresh perspectives can reveal new possibilities. To demonstrate, he pulled up his own research notes. Look at this analysis of Aetheri bioluminescent patterns. We noticed something interesting, they don't just communicate emotion, they carry complex data streams. Like a living computer network. Zara's patterns flickered with surprise. That's not possible. Our patterns are purely biological responses. Are they? Marcus brought up more data. Watch this recording of the High Council during diplomatic meetings. Their patterns synchronize in ways that suggest information transfer, not just emotional display. Your species might have capabilities you haven't fully explored because you take them for granted. The implications were staggering. If Marcus was right, it could revolutionize their understanding of Aetheri biology. But more than that, it showed how humans could see things differently, not better or worse, just different. Their research sessions began attracting attention. Other Aetheri scientists, initially skeptical, started dropping by to observe. The humans' unorthodox approaches and willingness to question established theories sparked heated debates, but also breakthrough insights. One evening, as they worked late in the lab, an alarm sounded. Not an emergency this time, but a notification: the first genetic compatibility results between humans and Aetheri were complete. This can't be right, Zara muttered, reviewing the data. Run it again. Marcus looked concerned. Problem? The compatibility levels, they're unprecedented. Your species' adaptive genetic structure seems to resonate with our own in ways we've never seen before. She paused, patterns swirling with complex emotions. It suggests potential for deeper connections. You mean reproduction? Marcus asked carefully. Zara's patterns flickered with embarrassment. Among other things. These results suggest humans and Aetheri could form biological bonds that transcend physical differences. Neural links, emotional synchronization, possibly even sharing of consciousness. The implications hung heavy in the air between them. Such connections were considered deeply intimate in Aetheri culture. The fact that humans were capable of them challenged every assumption about their primitive nature. Your people fear us, Marcus said quietly. They see us as unstable, dangerous. But maybe what really scares them is how similar we could be. Before Zara could respond, her research terminal chimed. Someone had accessed their genetic compatibility data, someone without authorization. And they'd transmitted it off-world. This is bad, she said, patterns flashing with alarm. That data in the wrong hands. Could be used to drive our peoples apart, Marcus finished. Or worse, exploit our compatibility for other purposes. They shared a look of understanding. Whatever was happening, it was bigger than their research, bigger than their growing friendship. Someone was playing a dangerous game with both their species' futures. We need to find out who's behind this, Zara declared, already accessing security protocols. Marcus nodded, a determined glint in his eye. Together? Together, she agreed, realizing how natural it felt now to trust this human. The laboratory felt quiet except for the hum of equipment and the soft glow of their workstations. Outside, the 3 suns of New Alexandria were setting, casting the city in ethereal light. Neither of them knew it yet, but their discovery was about to set off a chain of events that would change both their worlds forever. The real question was, were their people ready for what that change would bring? Hidden threats. The stolen genetic data was just the beginning. As Zara and Marcus dug deeper into the security breach, they uncovered a disturbing pattern. Someone had been monitoring their research from the start, particularly their findings about human-Aetheri compatibility. Look at this, Marcus said, highlighting a series of encrypted transmissions. They were working in a secure room deep within New Alexandria's archives, surrounded by holographic displays of data streams. These communications spike every time we make a breakthrough. Zara's patterns rippled with concern as she studied the data. The encryption, it's using old Aetheri military protocols. Someone with high-level access is involved. Their investigation had to remain secret. During the day, they maintained their normal routines, continuing their research, attending diplomatic functions, playing their expected roles. But at night, they worked to uncover the truth. During one such late session, Zara noticed Marcus rubbing his temples, his skin pale under the archive's blue lights. The gravity's affecting you again, isn't it? She asked. I'm fine, he insisted, but his hand shook slightly as he reached for his water container. You've been here 3 months now. Most species need gravity adjusters by this point. She hesitated, then added, there might be another solution. Marcus looked up, curious. What do you mean? Zara's patterns shifted to colors of uncertainty. Our research showed that humans and Aetheri can form neural links. In theory, I could help your body adjust by sharing my natural adaptation. You're talking about a mind link? Marcus asked. I thought that was considered intimate. It is, she admitted. But you've proven yourself trustworthy. And right now, you need help. The moment stretched between them, heavy with unspoken implications. Finally, Marcus nodded. I trust you. Zara moved closer, her patterns shifting to calming blues and greens. Relax your mind. This might feel strange at first. She placed her hands on either side of his face, her translucent skin glowing softly. Marcus closed his eyes, and Zara initiated the link. The connection formed like a bridge of light between their minds. Zara felt Marcus's initial surprise, then his wonder as their consciousness merged. She guided his body's responses, teaching it to adapt to the higher gravity naturally rather than fighting it. But something else happened too. Through the link, they shared flashes of memory, emotion, understanding. Zara saw Earth through Marcus's eyes, its varied landscapes, its teeming cities, its people's indomitable spirit. Marcus experienced her memories of growing up among the crystal spires, the complex dance of Aetheri society, the weight of traditions and expectations. When they finally separated, both were shaken by the intensity of the experience. That was. Marcus started. Unprecedented, Zara finished. The neural compatibility is even stronger than our data suggested. Unprecedented, Zara finished. The neural compatibility is even stronger than our data suggested. Before they could process what had happened, Zara's personal communicator chimed with an urgent message. Her patterns flashed with alarm as she read it. "What's wrong?" Marcus asked. "My research assistant, Valen, he's dead." Her voice trembled. "They're saying it was an accident in the labs, but he was supposed to be on leave." Marcus frowned. "Valen, wasn't he helping us trace those encrypted transmissions?" They shared a look of understanding. This was no accident. The next day, while reviewing Valen's personal files, they found something disturbing. Hidden in his data cache was evidence of a radical political faction, Aetheri purists, who believed contact with lesser species would contaminate their civilization. "They're calling themselves the Children of Purity," Zara translated, her patterns dark with anger. "They've been infiltrating key positions throughout the government. And now they have our compatibility data," Marcus added grimly. "But why? If they want to prevent human-Aetheri relations, wouldn't they want to destroy that research?" Zara's pattern suddenly flashed with realization. "Unless they want to use it as proof. To show that humans could corrupt our genetic purity. With the right manipulation, our discovery could be used to turn my people against yours." Their discussion was interrupted by a security alert. The environmental systems in the diplomatic quarter were malfunctioning, flooding the area with atmosphere toxic to humans. "This is just the beginning," Marcus said as they rushed to help evacuate the human delegation. "They're making their move." As they worked to save lives, Zara couldn't help but notice how her people reacted to the crisis. Many Aetheri, despite their supposed prejudices, didn't hesitate to help the struggling humans. The purists' plan might backfire. Instead of driving their species apart, this crisis could bring them together. But first, they had to survive it. Through their neural link, now stronger after repeated use, Zara felt Marcus's determination. They had uncovered the threat, but the real battle was just beginning. The question wasn't just whether humans and Aetheri could coexist, it was whether both species were ready to embrace a future neither had imagined. As emergency alarms blared through New Alexandria, Zara and Marcus prepared to face whatever came next. Together, they represented something the purists feared most, proof that their species could not only coexist but strengthen each other. The next few days would test not just their cooperation, but the very foundations of both their societies. And somewhere in the crystal spires of New Alexandria, their enemies were watching, waiting to make their next move. The ultimate test. The atmospheric crisis in New Alexandria reached critical levels. As toxic gases infiltrated the city's lower levels, both humans and Aetheri worked against time to prevent catastrophe. But for Zara and Marcus, this was more than a technical challenge, it was a test of everything they'd discovered about their species' potential for cooperation. "The virus is adapting faster than our countermeasures," an Aetheri engineer reported, her patterns flashing distress signals. "The atmospheric processors can't keep up." Marcus studied the holographic display showing the city's environmental systems. Thanks to his neural link with Zara, he could now interpret Aetheri technology almost instinctively. "It's not just adapting," he realized. "It's learning from our solutions." "That's impossible," one of the council members protested. "Even our most advanced AI can't evolve that quickly." Zara's patterns shifted as she connected the dots. "Unless it's not just a virus. The children of purity didn't just steal our compatibility research, they used it. They've created a hybrid system, combining Aetheri biotechnology with human adaptive algorithms. Our own research turned against us, Marcus muttered. Through their link, Zara felt his anger, not at her people, but at how their shared discoveries had been perverted. The situation grew more dire by the hour. Lower levels of the city had to be evacuated as the toxic atmosphere spread. The human delegation was relocated to emergency shelters, their environmental suits straining to compensate. Even the Aetheri were struggling as their carefully balanced ecosystem began to break down. Then Marcus had an idea. The neural link, he said suddenly. Zara, what if we could apply the same principle to the city's systems? You want to create a neural link with the atmospheric processors? Zara asked, her patterns showing both concern and intrigue. That's never been attempted on this scale. The virus is using our combined strengths against us, Marcus explained. So let's do the same. Your people's biotechnology, our adaptive problem solving. Not fighting each other, but working in true harmony. The council erupted in debate. What Marcus proposed was unprecedented. The atmospheric processors were tied into every aspect of city life, linking with them mentally could be devastating if something went wrong. I'll do it, Marcus volunteered. My mind is already adapted to Aetheri neural patterns, thanks to our link. No, Zara stepped forward. We do it together. The link is strongest when we work as one. The procedure was risky. They would need to interface directly with the city's central processing core, exposing themselves to both the virus and the raw computational power of New Alexandria's environmental systems. The children of purity, realizing what they planned, launched a desperate attack on the facility. As security forces held off the attackers, Zara and Marcus were connected to the core. The neural interface was overwhelming, millions of data points, environmental readings, system controls, all flooding their linked consciousness. Through their shared connection, they helped each other navigate the digital storm. They found the virus, a twisted creation that reflected the worst fears of both their species. But they also found something else, proof that humans and Aetheri could achieve something greater together than either could alone. Ready? Marcus's thought echoed through their link. Together, Zara responded. They dove deep into the system, their linked minds working in perfect synchronization. Where the virus adapted, they adapted faster. Where it learned, they taught each other. Human intuition merged with Aetheri precision, creating solutions that neither species would have discovered alone. The battle raged both in the digital realm and the physical world. The children of purity, seeing their plan failing, became desperate. They breached the facility's defenses, fighting their way toward the core. Through their neural link, Zara and Marcus felt every victory, every setback. The virus fought back, trying to overwhelm their combined consciousness. But with each challenge, their connection grew stronger. They weren't just combining their strengths, they were evolving together, demonstrating the very potential for growth that the purists feared. Finally, they isolated the virus. Using their merged understanding of both human and Aetheri code, they didn't just destroy it, they transformed it. The same adaptive properties that made it dangerous were repurposed to enhance the city's environmental systems. As the toxic atmosphere began to clear, the security forces captured the last of the attackers. Zara and Marcus emerged from their link exhausted but triumphant. Their success proved more than just their compatibility, it showed how much stronger both species could be together. The children of purity had failed in their attempt to drive humans and Aetheri apart. Instead, they had fostered the very cooperation they had feared. As emergency teams worked to restore the city's systems, something remarkable happened. Aetheri citizens, seeing how humans had helped save their city, began to view their primitive neighbors in a new light. But for Zara and Marcus, the experience had changed them on a deeper level. Their neural link, strengthened by the ordeal, had evolved into something unprecedented, a bridge between their species that went beyond mere compatibility. As they stood watching the three suns set over a healing New Alexandria, they knew that this was just the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead, helping both their peoples understand what they had discovered, that the future belonged not to those who maintained their isolation, but to those who dared to reach across the divide and connect. The crisis was over, but its implications would reshape both their worlds forever. Evolution of understanding. The aftermath of the atmospheric crisis changed everything. As New Alexandria recovered, both humans and Aetheri had to confront a new reality, one where their species' futures were undeniably intertwined. The neural link Zara and Marcus had forged while saving the city became a symbol of what was possible. Standing before the High Council, surrounded by the soft glow of bioluminescent architecture, they presented their findings. The chamber was packed, not just with council members, but with representatives from both species, all eager to understand what had been discovered. The compatibility between our species goes far beyond genetics, Zara explained, her patterns flowing with confidence. What we've discovered is the potential for true symbiosis. Marcus stepped forward, interfacing with the holographic display. Through their link, they synchronized their presentation perfectly. The neural bridge we formed didn't just allow us to communicate, it enhanced both our abilities. Aetheri precision, combined with human adaptability, created something entirely new. The evidence was undeniable. Medical scans showed how their shared neural connection had actually altered their brain patterns, creating new neural pathways that allowed for deeper understanding between species. The technology they developed to save the city's atmospheric processors was already being adapted for other applications. But not everyone was convinced. A council elder rose, his patterns showing concern. This evolution you speak of, how can we be sure it won't dilute our species' unique traits? The children of purity, though misguided, raised valid concerns about preserving our identity. With respect, Elder, Marcus replied, evolution isn't about loss, it's about growth. Look at Earth's history. Every major advancement in human civilization came from cultural exchange, from learning from those different from us. Through their link, Zara felt Marcus's sincerity, his deep belief in what they'd discovered. She added her own perspective, our research shows that neural bridges don't erase our differences, they enhance our unique strengths. Humans don't become less human, and Aetheri don't become less Aetheri. We become more of who we are by understanding each other. To demonstrate, they shared recordings of their linked consciousness during the crisis. The council watched in amazement as human intuition and Aetheri logic worked in perfect harmony, creating solutions neither species could have conceived alone. But the implications go beyond crisis management, Zara continued. Imagine medical breakthroughs combining our biological understanding. Scientific discoveries merging our different perspectives. Cultural exchanges that enrich both our societies. The debate lasted for hours. Questions were raised about safety protocols, ethical guidelines, and the societal impact of such close cooperation. But the most powerful argument wasn't in their data or theories, it was in their example. As they fielded questions, Zara and Marcus demonstrated the seamless communication their link allowed. They finished each other's sentences, shared complex concepts instantly, yet remained distinctly themselves. Their connection hadn't erased their individuality, it had strengthened it. Finally, High Elder Vieran rose. The chamber fell silent, awaiting her verdict. Throughout our history, she began, her patterns thoughtful, the Aetheri have prided ourselves on our advancement, our sophistication. We viewed other species as less evolved, potential threats to our way of life. She paused, looking directly at Marcus. The humans have taught us something valuable, that true evolution comes not from isolation, but from connection. Their adaptability, their willingness to embrace change, while maintaining their core identity, these are traits we would do well to emulate. The pronouncement sent ripples through the assembly. Vieran continued, therefore, the Council approves not only continued cooperation with Earth, but the establishment of a joint research initiative. The Harmony Project will explore the potential of human-Aetheri compatibility under careful ethical guidelines. It was more than they'd hoped for. As the assembly dissolved into excited discussion, Zara and Marcus shared a moment of private celebration through their link. Their shared consciousness sparkled with joy, relief, and anticipation of what was to come. Later, standing on a balcony overlooking the city, they watched ships from Earth arriving with more scientists, diplomats, and cultural exchanges. New Alexandria was transforming, becoming a symbol of interspecies cooperation. What happens now? Marcus asked, though through their link, he already sensed Zara's answer. Now we build something new, she replied, her patterns shifting through colors of hope and determination. Not just a bridge between our species, but a model for the galaxy. Proof that difference doesn't have to mean division. Their neural link hummed with shared purpose. They had discovered something profound, that the greatest strength comes not from maintaining barriers, but from learning to bridge them. That true evolution happens not in isolation, but in connection. As New Alexandria's 3 suns set, casting the crystal spires in rainbow light, Zara and Marcus knew they were witnessing the beginning of a new era. The children of purity had feared that contact with humans would change Aetheri society. They were right, but not in the way they'd imagined. The change wasn't degradation, but evolution. Not the loss of identity, but the discovery of new potential. As their linked minds contemplated the future, they understood that they had helped create something unprecedented, a template for how different species could not just coexist, but thrive together. The story of human-Aetheri cooperation would be told across the galaxy, inspiring other species to reconsider their own prejudices and limitations. But for Zara and Marcus, it was more than just a diplomatic triumph or scientific breakthrough. It was proof that the greatest discoveries come not from fearing difference, but from embracing it. Their neural link, once an experiment, had become a symbol of hope. In their connected consciousness, they held the promise of a future where diversity bred strength, where understanding transcended fear, and where evolution meant growing together rather than growing apart. The end of this chapter was just the beginning of a greater journey, one that would reshape not just their 2 species, but the very meaning of civilization in the galaxy.